What happens to the actors who refuse to play Hollywood's game? Not the ones who chase fame, but the ones who walk away from it. Or worse, get pushed out. Because beneath the lights, the awards, and the billion-dollar deals, there's a hidden layer of the industry that chews people up and spits them out if they don't comply. And some of your favorite stars, like the late Malcolm-Jamal Warner and Katt Williams, have been sounding the alarm for years. These men didn't fall from grace. They didn't go crazy, they simply wouldn't fold. And in a place like Hollywood, that kind of resistance comes with a cost. This is the story of the actors who wouldn't break, how the industry tried to erase them, and why they might have been right to walk away. In the glittering chaos of 1980s television, a 14-year-old boy quietly stepped onto the set of The Cosby Show and into the homes of millions. That boy was Malcolm-Jamal Warner, and almost overnight, he became a household name. As Theo Huxtable, he wasn't just America's kid brother. He was part of a movement. The show shattered stereotypes, reimagined the Black American family, and etched itself into the very fabric of pop culture. But while many young stars are devoured by the fame machine, Malcolm took a different path. He stayed grounded, pursued his education, and began quietly building a life not just in front of the camera, but behind it. Directing, writing poetry, making jazz, and creating indie television that spoke to something deeper. Yet as his work matured, so did his voice, and with that voice came honesty. Malcolm began to speak out about the industry, about race, about what happens when you're a Black creative who refuses to play the game. And that's when something subtle, but undeniable, began to happen. The spotlight that once embraced him started to flicker. Because in Hollywood, when you stop conforming and start telling inconvenient truths, they stop calling. In a resurfaced interview, Malcolm-Jamal Warner pulled back the curtain on a truth many suspect, but few dare to say out loud. In Hollywood, fame isn't freely given, it's conditioned. Beneath the red carpets and applause lies an invisible contract, one that demands silence, compliance, and conformity, especially from Black artists. Warner didn't mince words. When you speak a certain truth, when you have a certain consciousness, you are not necessarily welcomed, he said with quiet conviction. According to him, there's a clear divide. Those who play the game rise higher, faster. But those who push back, who challenge the roles they're offered or the stories being told, suddenly become difficult. And once you're labeled difficult, the industry doesn't explode in outrage. It just begins to erase you. The punishment isn't loud, it's subtle. A missing phone call, a smaller role, a budget that mysteriously shrinks. Warner pointed to the harsh double standard. Actors are often celebrated for roles that reduce them, but sidelined when they strive to uplift or disrupt the narrative. He never dropped names. He didn't have to. The message rang loud and clear. Hollywood has unspoken rules, and the moment you stop following them, you start to fade. Katt Williams didn't just speak his truth, he paid for it. He's opened up about being blackballed in the industry, not because of scandal or failure, but because he refused to bend. The offers came, stacked with money and promises, but they came with strings. Roles that asked him to mock himself, betray his image, or cross lines he couldn't justify. When he said no, the consequences followed fast. Projects dried up. Headlines flipped. And suddenly, he wasn't just a comedian, he was difficult, unstable, ungrateful. Katt has long warned that when Black artists refuse to play the caricature, the media steps in to rewrite their story. It's not about facts, it's about optics. You're painted as problematic for protecting your integrity. And just like Malcolm-Jamal Warner, Katt never pointed fingers. He never named the power players behind the curtain. But his story is a mirror image of Warner's. Speak out, resist the mold, and you won't be attacked directly. You'll simply vanish from the frame. What binds Malcolm-Jamal Warner and Katt Williams isn't just defiance, it's survival. Both men have pulled back the curtain on a system that doesn't just discourage authenticity, it punishes it. When Warner said, "There are things I've seen that I can't unsee," it wasn't just confession, it was a quiet alarm. A coded message wrapped in caution. As mentioned, neither he nor Katt ever dropped names. Not because they didn't know them, but because they knew better. The price of full honesty in Hollywood isn't just a lost gig, it's a disappearing act. Reputations get stained, security gets threatened, opportunities dry up without warning. And the silence, it's not just personal, it's systemic. The inner circle closes ranks, while the truth tellers get slowly edged out. What they've exposed isn't just corruption, it's a hidden boundary. A line between the compliant and the condemned. For Warner and Katt, silence doesn't mean surrender. It means staying alive in an industry where one wrong word can end your career, or worse. Malcolm-Jamal Warner didn't need to spell it out. His voice, his hesitation, the careful way he chose every word, it said everything. He wasn't just reflecting on his journey, he was hinting at something darker. A system that doesn't just ask for talent, it demands silence in exchange for survival. When he said he chose the long road, it wasn't about ambition, it was about integrity, about walking away from shortcuts that came with invisible chains. Katt Williams? He's been louder about it, more confrontational. But the message is the same. In Hollywood, success often comes with a price, and refusing to pay it makes you a problem. Together, they're not just speaking for themselves, they're speaking for everyone who's been forced to play along or disappear. Their quiet is not confusion. It's not fear. It's code, a signal that behind the fame and flashing lights, there's a cost no one talks about. Katt Williams doesn't tiptoe, he charges. His stage, a battleground. His interviews, wrecking balls aimed at the polished facade of fame. In that now iconic club Shay Shay Sit Down, he didn't just spill tea. He dismantled the entire machine behind the grins, the trophies, and the flawless public personas. Where Malcolm-Jamal Warner speaks with careful precision, Katt storms the gates, fully aware of the cost. He's exposed the double standards of an industry that praises realness. Right up until that realness threatens profit. And when he said Malcolm's name, it wasn't just a nod, it was a spotlight. A way of saying, I see you. I see your fight. Katt's boldness isn't reckless, it's calculated. Each bombshell he drops forces people to question the narrative they've been fed. And in doing that, he gives power to the quieter truth tellers, the ones who never yelled, but always meant every word. Malcolm-Jamal Warner's story isn't just about a single actor navigating fame. It's a mirror held up to an industry that punishes truth tellers and rewards performers who stick to the script. He didn't disappear. He didn't fail. He chose the shadows over the spotlight because he understood what the spotlight demanded in return: silence, submission, and a piece of your soul. His quiet was not retreat, it was resistance. A subtle act of defiance in a system where integrity is a liability. While others polished their brands, Malcolm protected something more fragile and more rare: his authenticity. Then there's Katt Williams. He's loud because someone has to be. He shouts because so many others can't. Katt isn't just burning bridges. He's exposing the rot in the foundation. And when he calls out names, when he drops uncomfortable truths, he's not being reckless. He's being necessary. He's the voice for every artist who whispered warnings behind closed doors, too scared to speak them out loud. Together they form a powerful duality: Malcolm, the man who stood still and firm; Katt, the man who moved fast and fierce. One preserved his truth by withholding it. The other weaponized his by throwing it into the fire. Both paid a price. Both refused to play by the rules. And both of their brands are still standing, not because the industry protected them, but because they protected themselves. Their paths raise deeper questions than most are willing to ask. How many more are out there, choosing silence over spectacle, retreat over compromise? How many quietly packed their bags and walked away before they lost more than their careers, before they lost themselves? Hollywood is built on illusion, on glossy surfaces and curated stories. But Malcolm and Katt have cracked that surface wide open. And as more people begin to question what's behind the curtain, it won't be the conformists we remember. It'll be the quiet warriors and the unapologetic rebels, the ones who told the truth even when it cost them everything.